Okay. Thank you. Hi, everyone. How are you today? Smart Start. It is Thursday, and it is April 5th, and it's very nice to see everybody here. Thank you for joining me, West Coast, East Coast, wherever we are. I'm happy to be here. Let's see. So let's see who we have joining us. So today we're going to do, whoops, sorry, just smashed into something. Hey, Rose, Jean, how are you? So today I wanted to look at a little bit, is that Deborah? Hi, how are you, Deborah Swack? It's very nice of you to join us. This is Smart Start. We usually start our day with some art, but today we're ending our day. Hi, Diana. Hi, Brenda. Robert Lynch, nice to see you here. So today, we do connections on Thursdays, and today I'm going to do it a little bit of a different way. Instead of connecting two pieces of art to each other and figuring out the juxtaposition, the comparing and contrasting, I wanted to look at an artist. Hey, Ellen, how are you? Hey, Charles, how are you? I wanted to look at an artist whose work is all about connecting to nature, but it's Rose Anderson, and she's on her feed, and I've highlighted Rose's work before. I recently she came upon something that she's been working on, and she was thinking about connecting also with social media. And as many of you know, I'm also a mentor and an educator, and I do a lot of consulting and a consultant. I do a lot of consulting in the art world, both with artists and with collectors and corporations and such. To that end, when Rose was asking me a little bit about and working with Praxis and such, when she was asking me a little bit about connecting on social media, and all the artists do, how do you connect on social media? How do you get your artwork out there? How do you get your artist statement? All of that. She has this wonderful project that she did with the Maryland Natural History Society. And Rose's work is very much about connecting with nature, forging through nature, finding the pieces of nature that she loves, photographing that, creating an assemblage from nature and the industrial world, and kind of creating this place, this new world that is outside of the construct of both nature and our human construct. So she's creating these otherworldly pieces, but from nature. And so she created this wonderful book, and it's basically, in many ways, a guide to, going out and seeing the flowers, seeing what's blooming now in spring. And this is in and around Maryland, spring wildflowers of Maryland. But when I saw it as a curator myself, what I saw was something that was at once interactive for the artist, for the art viewer, and a way of bringing one back to nature and therefore bringing them to art. And for myself, a project like this is really exciting. It's exciting for a curator to get their hands on. So I only imported 10 pages of the book here, but I know that Rose has it. Yeah, Ruth, good work, right? Good work. Hi, Eunice, it's good to see you. So Brian Fink, welcome. This is Smart Start. So I wrote a little bit about, as a curator and a gallerist and such, my interest in this, and what I hope that people will, that the book is available, and that viewers will take it and go with it. Because what Rose is offering is not just like a bird guide right here. See this bird, like a Sibley bird guide, which, trust me, is the Bible in our house. But she's also offering a way into her world as an artist. And what I find for people who love to view art, or people that don't know, or just starting at viewing art and making it a daily practice, weekly practice, whatever it is. Hi, Annette, how are you? Is that the jumping into the artist's mind, into their world, into their creativity. There's nothing like it. When you're really viewing art, what you're doing is you're jumping into the mind of an artist, the heart of an artist, that creativity, and where they are, whether it's a contemporary artist, everything plays a part in it. Good. Hi, Ann, how are you? Gender, culture, time frame, everything plays a part in the artist's world. And so when people, hello, Robert, Edward, Franklin, how are you? So when people say, somebody recently said on my post that they don't want to hear any more of Women Crush Wednesday and gender roles or race, too bad. Everything, I don't mean to be rude, everything plays a part in an artist's life. Their upbringing, what they've studied. Good. Hi, Christina. How are you? So what I wrote a little bit for Rose, and what I want to say about this is, when I first viewed these images, Rose Anderson had found and photographed, I was immediately intrigued by the many possibilities that a compilation like this could afford the viewer. As an art curator, the notion of having an interactive experience with art and nature captured my attention. The fundamental foundation of Rose Anderson's work as an artist is to gather photographic specimens while searching wild, untouched places for whispers of humanity and nature. That's specifically Rose's statement. Through her work, Anderson finds that nature becomes a way to put the human condition into a larger context. Like so many artists, Anderson finds in nature both a mirror and a microscope. Through the lens of her camera, she at once finds a familiar reflection and an oculate for taking a more intimate look at her chosen specimen. Vincent van Gogh wrote to his brother Theo, quote, artists, he really says painters, but I expanded to artists here, understand nature and love her and teach us to see. Anderson's book not only teaches us to see the flowers as they are blooming, she invites us to see into her mind, her world, her artistic process. We can come along on her journey of forging through nature and finding the hints of spring. What will one find? Buds, flowers, dirt, weeds, new growth, winter washing away, spring arriving, a renewed feeling within, an appreciation of nature, a reverence for the glorious seasons, a pathway back to ourselves. All of these things and so much more. Take photos, take notes, sit, think, be. Be in nature. Find your favorite wildflowers. So I really, for this, thank you, Robert. Yes, I love Women Crush Wednesday too. Gary Sigmund, welcome to our feed. Smart Start, how are you, sir? It's good to see you here. Ruth says, Ruth Anderson, I'm loving this. I've been working with nature as a theme recently, so I really appreciate hearing things. Yes. Hi, Stephen, how are you? What I love about what Rose is doing, and we're going to figure out ways, Rose, also, I want to expand this a little bit for you in this book, or work with you to expand this a little bit, is we are coming into an artist's world. I get that Rose took a picture and she names it here. And the book has 31 pages. I only put in, I think, 9 or 10. And she names it here. But one can imagine that she's out there and she's looking and she's forging. And then you're forced to look and kind of forge for this flower, right? This particular flowers, for the particular flower. The other day I was up at Stone Barns with Serena, who's not on the feed today, right? And 1 second. When I am looking for wildflowers, nothing else matters. It's really amazing. I love that, Rose. I can see that. Hi, Carol. I can see that here. I can feel that in this book, that nothing else matters. So we were at Stone Barns the other day, which is this wonderful place in Bedford, New York, and we went early. and they have this wonderful breakfast, and everybody's out. The farmers are out, the educators at Stone Farms, everybody that's working. They're in their overalls, their boots, and they're out there working, and then they go early and drink some coffee, and they have a wonderful cafe. And immediately, even the fog was so dense on Wednesday, right? Today's Thursday, so it was yesterday. Yes, the fog was so dense. Christina says, as someone who works in the state park systems, this is huge. Christina, I think so too, and I'd like to see this. I'm going to present this to Stone Barns as something that they have for, the people that come in and visit Stone Barns in the area, looking for wildflowers. So the fog was lifting, but honestly, we saw these little purple flowers, and immediately I opened up my phone because I knew that was the flower that Rose had posted for that day, and it's like, we found that. And there was so much fog in the air, and we're with Serena's daughter Lila, of course, and Lila's 7. She had said she had seen the fog and the distance of the farm land and such, and the rolling hills, and she said, look at that, the hills are purple. And she saw it so quickly that through the fog and the green, she sees purple. The child's amazing. Hi, Jamie, how are you? And so then all of a sudden, so we're looking at the pigs, we're looking at the chickens, we're looking at the ducks. What else did we see? The sheep, the sheepdogs. But out of the mud are these little purple flowers, and it brought me right to Rose's book, and then thinking of Rose's artwork and the way Rose sees these wildflowers as an artist, how she has come to connect, and how the flowers, we're in New York State, and then she was in, her flowers are in Maryland that she was looking at, and then thinking about Van Gogh's connection to nature. And then even, and just even expanding that then to more of the Romantics' understanding of nature, of Turner's understanding of nature. So it became it just became an entire day of this, it was just so wonderful. Robert says, it's as if Rose is an advocate for each of these flowers, right? Giving a voice to something so small and fragile and beautiful. Absolutely, Robert. Beautifully said. Each piece on the page, and again, I only have 10 pages here. The book has 31 pages in it. And Christina says, it would serve us all to become more careful observers. Yes. Van Gogh also famously said to Theo that when one loves nature or finds beauty, I think it was he finds those who find beauty in nature, just they love everything, or they find beauty in everything, like that kind of connection between finding, even in something that, the flowers that we were, trust me, we went out that day, it was cold, it's cold here still today, the fog, we hadn't seen the sun for days, and we were just said, Serena said, let's go to Stone Barns, let's do this, let's just find something. The day before we had been just building fire in the fireplace and doing some work and just kind of hunkered down and waiting for, the waiting for spring has been intense in the Northeast. And then when we got out there and then just saw the little bit of purple, just that little bit of that bud coming up, it became such a beautiful, we felt like we were in a museum, but we're not, right? We're out in nature, but with that same kind of eye view. Rose says, the world is so much more romantic place when you open yourself to finding things you've never seen before. When you get into these tiny details of nature, finding something you've never seen is very likely. It is. You're absolutely right. And then you see the dirt in a different way. You see the mud. You see a reflection in some water, some standing water, right? The fog looks different. And then later in the afternoon, the fog started to lift and then the sun came out. And it all felt monumental. And it really started with this little book and then this conversation with Rose and I. Oh, good, Jamie, I'm glad you'll watch later. Yeah. Diana says, I love hiking in the mountains and searching for wildflowers in those mountain tops, right? It's magic. It truly is something so small as a wildflower, and it's just sparked such a conversation. And this book and artists, right? That all artists that going back to nature, and then seeing it from, as I wrote this for the book, that Rose, as most artists see, and as we all do in many ways, right? We see nature as both a microscope, as a mirror and a microscope. It reflects us, but then it also gets us to look so much closer, right down to the grain of nature. Gary, if I felt no love for nature, my work, then my work, then I would be unhappy. Van Gogh. That's a great quote of his. I love that, Gary. Thank you for that. And so I really love this note. So we were starting to talk about social media, and Rose, like everybody, feels, okay, what are we doing out here in social media? For me, it's smart start, right? It's about art. And so for Rose and other artists too, are we just going to continue to post our work, or, and then with this book, and then I saw that she posted something one day, and it was just that flower, whichever flower it was that one day, the purple flower. And it just sat there back in my mind somewhere as I went through my life. And I thought, what a great way, what a great way to use social media, right? That she doesn't necessarily want to just post, quote unquote, her artwork. But Rose has given us a way of looking at nature and looking into her world and looking at nature through her eyes, which is really amazing. What a gift that is, and what a different way of presenting your work. That I love. Gary said, yes, thank you. Rose, oh my God, thank you for this. Yeah, the flowers are great. You're drawing these flowers and everyone's drawing. I forgot how much this simple beauty is needed in the world. It is. And all of this comes down to, isn't that so much is just the simplicity in it, right? How simple this book is, and yet how powerful it is, because it really brings us back to nature, and therefore to ourselves, to art, and that is, that's what we're all doing here in many ways. So for connections on this Thursday, I think, this is such a tremendous connection. And using this book is such a way. I know that, Rose, it's available, right, on your website. It's a download, right? What is Charles going to say? You sound like a poet. Thank you. Well, it's easy to be a poet when you have, it's easy. I mean, isn't it easy to kind of speak in a poetic way when you do find beauty, even when you find beauty in places that you don't even think, right? I mean, we're looking for this blue wildflower, and we're forging through the mud and the fog and puddles and muddy feet and slush and everything else, and in that morning there was still snow on the ground, and then by the afternoon the sun was shining and there was no more snow on the ground, and it kind of like these spring wildflowers of Maryland, Rose's book. I mean, we're right there watching the season change, and just in a mirror and a microscope found myself, but then also in that microcosm of seeing winter turn to spring. How fortunate I was to do that on kind of a day that was a respite for me, that helped me to revive, to come back to do the creative work that I do. So I love this, Rose. I love this for you. I love this as a way for all artists to come up with what they do in that way. That it brings us, it's this guide to nature, to ourselves, and to your mind's eye. Rose, so extremely well done, and I really like that. Oh, good. You'll put the link in this feed, and I really love it, and I encourage everybody on your day off, in an hour, whatever it is, to to download this and pick a page and think about it and go out there and find it. Wherever you live, there's if there's wildflowers in New York, there's wildflowers everywhere. I'm certain that that is true. So, Rose, thank you so much for this. This was a real treat and a real gift, and I can't wait to download the whole thing more and look for more wildflowers and such, because it really is so much fun. And I go out like Walden Pond, and even when I walk Newton, I'm out on my walks with Newton, and when Jean comes with me, when we're together, and just seeing the buds come up, even in the flower beds in New York City, right? I mean, those tree flower beds mean everything to us. Everything. I used to plant the flower beds for the trees in front of our building. They mean everything in New York. They are so important to who we are in New York, that touch of nature when you walk out on the street. And then just, you could see people just kind of now out there looking and wondering what's coming up. And this color purple seems to be the first that comes up. And that's the first that Rose has posted, so it's really great. Hey, Christine, how are you? It's good to see you. Christine, we're talking about foraging for wildflowers in the spring, and Rose Anderson's book that she has as a download, and I'm discussing it as a guide to finding nature, finding ourselves, always finding yourselves, but also jumping into kind of Rose's mind's eye and seeing how she forges through nature to come up with her body of work as well. So thank you all very much for joining me on this Thursday afternoon. It's very cold here. I understand we're still going to get some snow tomorrow, but I don't think it's anything that's going to stick. Very excited because my sister's coming into town. So wouldn't it be so nice if she joined me on smART stART? We'll see if we can make that happen. And I hope you all enjoy your evening. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I believe I'm going to curate. I'm going to look around and see now what I'm curating. Have a great evening, everybody. Rose, thank you so much. This is such beautiful work, and I hope that we'll post that here and that you'll all take those moments in this early spring and just take that moment to find those little wildflowers and such. Let me see what Gary says. Yeah, she's going to freeze here, right, Gary? She's come here. She's coming back to close up an apartment, and she's coming from Laguna Beach, and she's not going to be happy when she gets here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.